Bam, son! This is Shoot It Straight, the podcast where life lessons don't come sugar-coated and excuses get bitched.
I'm Randy Black, podcast guy, professional question asker, and apparently the only one here who doesn't yell "Bam, son" in public.
Well, we're working on that, Randy. I'm Jim Clayton, coach, mentor, motivator, and the guy who still thinks a whistle may be the best motivational tool known to man.
Each week, we're taking what Jim's learned from the court, the drills, the discipline, the drive, and translating it into real-world success.
That's right. This ain't just about basketball. It's about showing up when life presses full court. It's about pushing through when the clock's ticking down.
If you're looking for fluff, well, you might just want to ride the bench.
We're here to help you believe bigger, achieve louder, and motivate stronger. So buckle up, and whatever you do, keep shooting it straight. Bam, son!
Welcome back to Shooting It Straight. I'm Randy Black, and this is a very special episode that I wanted to put out for everyone. What we're going to do today is take some time to listen to some tributes that came in. We set up a voicemail box, and in Jim's obituary and online with the Facebook group and different places, we ask people to call in and share some Jim memories and some Jim stories, and we've put those together, and we're going to put them out here on this episode of the podcast today. So we're gonna dive right into those and get those going. But when those are finished up, I'm gonna come back on and share a little bit of what I shared at Jim's services, at his funeral service back on several weeks ago on September 27th. So let's dive in. Let's check out these great tributes that came in, all about Jim, and then I'll be back with you here very shortly.
Hi, this is Alyssa Allen, and to be honest, I'm a little late to this, but whenever I had anything on my mind, whether it be for shooting or just absolutely random out-of-pocket life stuff, I knew every time I would come in on a Saturday, I could tell it all to him. He was honestly like another dad that I could go to for advice, whether it be basketball advice or life advice. He was that kind of person to me. He made me feel like another daughter to him. And so did Ann. The whole family made me feel, honestly, like another daughter to them. And I will never forget the impact that it's had on not only my ball career, but just on me as a person. I strive to really be just like what he said, believe, achieve, and motivate. Not only in just basketball, but in life itself. And that the stuff he told me and talked about with me, basketball and life skills, will always be put to amazing, beautiful use in my life. And I don't think I will ever forget anything he's ever told me. I have a whole note in my phone just on shooting tips he gave me at the last time I was there. And I don't need them. I don't need the tips because I've talked to him so much, I can hear his voice in the back of my head when I make a bad shot. Or if I drop my hands, I can hear him yelling at me from across the gym. Don't drop them hands. Don't drop them hands. I can hear it plain as day in the back of my head. And I can hear all the advice he's given me, all the reassurance that I am more than good enough, that I'm a dang good player, and I should act like it. And that I'm plenty smart enough to do whatever I want to do in life. And that, just honestly, to live life to its fullest. And I do think that's what he did. He lived life to the fullest and did what he loved. And I aim to be at least half as good as he was. In basketball, in life, in everything. Because honestly, I'm so glad I got to have such a good role model in my life. He truly was the best that I could have had, in my opinion, in my eyes. Because Lord knows he helped me through a lot of rough patches in my game when I needed a father figure to go to for advice. I could tell him anything. I really could. And I'm so, so thankful I started Sports City U and going down gyms, as I called it, for as long as I did. And I'm just so thankful I got to meet him and to be in his life and for him to be in mine. It was truly the biggest blessing I think I've ever had in my entire life. Thank you.
My name is Amici Watson. I happen to be a teammate of Jim's back at West Virginia Tech in 1977, 1978. I just wanted to offer my condolences to his family. Jim was a great player and even better person. So he will really, truly be missed. And again, I was just glad that I had the privilege to play with Jim. Thank you.
Hi, this is Isabella Hemmings. Jimmy loved teaching basketball and was dedicated to teaching it. He helped me and other kids get better at basketball, and he made us more confident in our skills. I've been going to Jimmy's for 7 years, and I have improved so much with his help. He put a smile on my face every time I walked into that building. He always helped me with my shot and taught me new things every single week. Jimmy always had faith in me and believed that I could be a good player. He always had the best attitude while coaching me. He never let his personal struggles affect the way he coached. When I was having a bad day and I was upset about my shot, he always cheered me up. Rest in peace, Jimmy. I will never forget you. Damn son.
This is Jan Ramey, and I'm really thankful that you're doing this for Jim and Coach Clayton and his family. My girls are twin girls from Hurricane, West Virginia, Reese Ramey and Riley Ramey, and Jim has been such an inspiration and impact on them from the time that they were 4 years old up until now. We saw Jim as recently as a month ago, and he sharing his wisdom, knowledge of the game, has just been, we're just so grateful. I have a short story that I want to share about, a time when they were going to one of the group camps at Sports City U, and it's a funny story. My girls were probably 5 years old. I was out in the waiting area, kind of watching in like parents do. Jim was standing in front of all the kids, giving one of his prophetic speeches that he always does, the motivator that he is. I look up for my cell phone because I'm not watching the whole thing. I can't hear, but I look up and my twin girls are wrestling on the ground in front of Jim, Coach Clayton, while he is making a speech. I was appalled. Oh my goodness. To see them doing that while this great man with all of his knowledge and wisdom are sharing that with them, and they are wrestling like they don't have a care in the world. Oh my gosh. But it wasn't long until Jim, Coach Clayton, got their attention, and they straightened up really straight. And from that point on, I don't know what was said, but from that point on, they listened. And every conversation that he had from then on, they were all ears and eyes straight at him. He was an amazing person. That's just one story. I could share so many stories of the greatness of this man and what he's meant to our family. Anne Elizabeth West, we share in your pain, but we also share in those wonderful memories. We love Coach Clayton, and thank you for just thank you. Thank you for allowing us to share our story and our life with him. Bless you all. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Emily Lohr, and when I first met Coach Clayton, I was 17 years old, and my last name was still Reed, and it was between my junior and my senior year of high school. And I had heard about SBU through my AAU coach out of Columbus, Ohio. And at that time, I am from just outside of Stephenville, Ohio originally. So my parents, knowing how much I love basketball, allowed me to join an AAU team in Columbus because there weren't any locally. And we drove to Columbus, which was like a 2.5-hour drive, twice a week for practice and for games. And I remember just hearing about Coach Clayton from, some of my teammates and my AAU coach, and they were planning on going to this extreme hoops camp that was happening that summer. And I jumped on the very primitive version of the internet we had at that time, but Coach Clayton had a website, and after reading the description of the extreme hoops camp, I was like, I have to do this. And so I begged and I pleaded because it cost about $1,000, and I made promises that, no Christmas or birthday or graduation gifts would need to be purchased. This is all I wanted. And so I show up at this camp that my parents dropped me off at for 2 weeks. And I remember that first day feeling, excited but a little uncertain, and just sitting in that, awesome facility with all the hoops on the walls and all the stars and all the quotes, and just Coach Clayton's presence filled the room, and I hung on every word. I was so excited to be there in the presence of somebody who had such a love for the game and so much knowledge to share. And I'm someone who usually was motivated by external factors. I had the coaches get on me to kind of get every last drop of whatever talent I had. But with Jim, it was just effortless. He made me want to be better. I've never worked harder in my life, and that continued with me through my senior year of basketball and through what I had of my college career that unfortunately ended early due to an injury. But then it spilled over into my coaching, and I've coached as a varsity head coach, as a varsity assistant, and I was actually able to bring it full circle and bring Coach to my high school in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania that I taught at. And this was in 2016, August of 2016, so he and Carla came, and he was just so amazed that our mascots were the Big Macs. And, I remember him being like, the Big Macs. And just every day, his energy was infectious. And I had told the girls, I was like, listen, this is one of the best people you're ever going to meet. You're going to be, inspired by him beyond these couple days you're going to spend with him. And truly they were. But we went on to win the first sectional championship in school history that year. And there were so many things he passed into those 2 days, not just drills, but, just motivation, just, positive thinking, teamwork, little things. And I remember we did this big group drill. I forget what it was called, but we were in a big circle, and we had to do like bounce, bounce, pass, bounce, bounce, pass. And the girls all had to be in a rhythm together. And he said that no one had been able to do it, for a certain amount of time to make it the whole way around the square. And we were the first ones to do it. And he took a video and put it to some cool music and posted it on his social media. And it would pop up every now and again. He'd always send it to me when it popped up in his memories. And I know Coach, he was only my coach for that 2 weeks. And then, I attended another event and I kept in touch with him. But he truly was one of those voices that I always heard whenever I was going through something tough. And still as an adult, I would come across a post on social media, and I always took something away from any interaction I had with him, whether it was just reading something he wrote, watching one of his videos, jumping on one of his lives, being in his gym. And it's something that, grew in me, and I've been able to pass on to all of the young athletes that I've coached. So I'm truly thankful for everything he did for the game of basketball and everything he did for me, but I cannot even imagine how far his reach goes, especially the kids who worked with him from a young age the whole way through college. And I know everybody's hurting right now, especially his family. And I just really want to extend my condolences to everybody. I was able to attend the camp with his daughter, Elizabeth, and I know she knew how special her dad was. And to watch the two of them and the bond they shared was really nice. And I saw her tribute to him and how they got to attend a concert together a couple weeks ago. And it just warmed my heart. And I'm so glad that, Clayton family, you have all this wonderful memories and all of these memories that we're sharing. he was just such a special man, and his reach is going to continue to extend so far beyond this lifetime. You know, it's going to be passed down from player to coach, from parent to child, and so on and so forth. And as my 8-year-old son gets ready to start playing basketball, I really always hope to be able to bring him down to the lab. And I still hope to, but it just makes me sad that he's not going to get to meet Coach Clayton, and Coach Clayton's not going to get to meet him in person. So, again, extending my very sincere condolences, and just I hope that you all find comfort in these memories, in your memories, and you know, I will continue to wear my damn son shirt with pride, and I'll be excited for anybody who will come up and ask me what it means. Oh, what's your shirt? You know, believe, achieve, motivate, bam, son, because that's it. You know, that mental part of the game, that's a big part of it, and I always enjoy sharing my stories with Coach Clayton. So, again, sending my sincere condolences, and I'm just very, very honored to have known him, and I'm a better person because of it.
The name is Kathy Hassefluck, and I was in the school system for several years and knew Jimmy, and what a wonderful, wonderful person he always was. He was always very nice and had a big smile and always talked with me anytime that I saw him. And he will be greatly missed in the neighborhood. God bless.
Hello, my name is Laverne Evans. I'd like to first of all send my condolences to Ann, Elizabeth, and Wes, and the rest of the family. As Jim was a great man. I'm saddened that I didn't get the opportunity to get down there, as I've been trying to get back from Portugal to get down and coach with the wonderful teacher and coach he was, and that I hoped that to be able to get down and see what all the great inspiration that he was, and to all the kids and all, people that were touched by him. I followed him for many years as I reached out and we are in contact, and he has all the wonderful work he is, the skills, how he touched everyone of all ages, and even though I wasn't there, he's always touched in me, and I was at least blessed at the conversation we have had, and hope that I may be able to hopefully help continue his great work that he has achieved. Rest in peace. #BAM to you, my friend Jimmy. And now you're with the Lord. He'll take care of you. Amen. God bless to you, Jimmy's family, and God bless to you all. Good night.
This is Mark Hatcher, head basketball coach at Logan High School. Jim has been a friend of mine for many years. I've got to know him through all the coaches throughout the state and everything. My father, Coach Akers, Huntington East and Huntington High were always big rivals of Logan. When he started Sports City U, wasn't too many years later that I started to be the head coach at Logan, and we had a really bad year. I called him up and said, "Hey, Coach, I need help. I need some drills. I need some new stuff." And he and Shane Wagner, we worked out a deal where they came down and worked over 30 kids, I think for 6 straight Sundays in the fall, my second year that I was a coach. And really the skills that I learned from him, and the techniques that I learned, the way he motivated kids, the way he made it happy and fun, but still challenged them. And you know, he challenged their confidence. He had a way about him that, you know, that just made kids want to go to him and work for him. And I appreciate you, Coach, for teaching me those things and working with me. And I got out of coaching for 10 years and got back into it last year. And, you know, we had a good year and everything. And I called him up in the spring, called Ann and him. And I said, "Hey, I got like 6 kids. I'd like to buy every spot for it and have them over there every week." And he made they made sure to fit me in my own personal hour for all Logan kids. And it was just a great thing. The kids were just, when they heard about this the other night, they all sent me messages and were all very sad. And, but they all were touched by you, Coach. And I've had a lot of messages from all the players that I've sent to you and you've worked with over the years, boys and girls from Logan. We really appreciate everything that you and your family did. And, you were a legend, Coach. And, just thank you for, being a part of my life. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, brother. Matt Dorsey here. Jim, I want to thank you so much for your mentorship, your friendship over the years, all the basketball talks we've had on the phone, in person. Forever grateful for the time that I've had to spend with you, even over the last few years, over the holidays when I come in town from Florida, to be able to come to the lab and help you out with workouts, just hang out, talk hoops, talk life. You're always even keel and the same to me, full of energy, always believing, achieving, and motivating the next person to be the best they could be, and seeing the greatness within each person that you came in contact with. I remember calling you when my son was having an issue with his jump shot, and I knew I needed a different set of eyes to see where the issues were. And you were the perfect man for the job. And I remember bringing him into your facility. I believe it was 8th, 9th grade. And you repped out the bad habits. And he was a sponge. He soaked it all in and went back and worked on it when he wasn't with you. And to this day, he still does all the habits and the form shooting that you taught him. And of course, I constantly preach to him to keep those things consistent. So I'm thankful that you influenced him. News of your passing hit him as well pretty hard. He called me the day after you passed, and I had found out myself and hadn't had a chance to speak to him. And I could tell the impact that you had on him. Now a 20-year-old sophomore in junior college playing with big goals to play high-level Division II in the MEC, and perhaps maybe one day be a professional. And he is inspired by your influence of being the best shooter you could possibly be, because shooting is a separator. That's something that both of us have always agreed on. And with that said, I thank you for your time this summer when I called you about life and some issues and decisions that I was looking to make to potentially come back home. And I'll never forget what you said to me, and it still rings in my ear to this day. You said, Matt, live your life with no regrets. And that's what I intend to do moving forward. And Jim, we will carry on your legacy, and we will make a difference and impact others in your honor and for the glory of God. Rest in peace. We will continue to spread your message to believe, achieve, and motivate the next generation. I want you to know I love you, brother, and your legacy will live on for generations to come. Bam.
Hello, my name is Perry Eastep. I'm a longtime coach for 38 years and teacher of 44 years in Putnam County. I'm also entering my 49th year of basketball officiating for the Kanawha Southern Board, and I first ran into Jimmy whenever he was coaching in Cabell County. But more so, my impact with Jimmy comes whenever I was diagnosed with colon cancer the day I retired, June 5th of last year. I ran into Jimmy at the infusion center as he was taking infusions as well, and he and I actually sit beside each other several times doing chemotherapy and infusions, and he would always tell me, don't worry about this, we got this. I was stage 3B and he was stage 4, and he laughed about how I could never catch him, and that we would always make sure that we would celebrate someday whenever we were cancer-free. I was just diagnosed a few months ago in remission, and so far cancer-free with colon cancer. and we will celebrate together someday soon. But it'll only have to be in heaven. Jimmy was the most inspirational, positive thinking, influential, loving, caring human being I have ever met. He always believed, achieved, and motivated with his BAM philosophy, and he will forever be a hero to me. It's with deep regret that I already have a vacation scheduled in Florida during his funeral, or I would be the first one there. I can promise you that. But I will be there in spirit. I will be there in heart. I love the man. I look at his post all the time. He posted me positivity on a daily basis to encourage me when he was going through the same thing that I was going through. That's just Jimmy Clayton. I love the man. Bam.
Bam, son.
So on September 27th, we had the funeral services for Jim, and many people there. I was one of 8 people who spoke that day and was so proud to be a part of that and to share my story with Jimmy and some things about him. And if you listen to the last episode we put out, it was a release of a recording from 2018 with Jim. And there was a question I asked him at the end of the episode that was so poignant that I had forgotten I'd even ask him that question. So just to remind you, this is what that question was and what Jimmy had to say. What is it that you want Jimmy Clayton to be remembered for?
You know, I thought about this for a long time. I heard somebody say, if you had to write your eulogy in one word, what would it be? I thought about that for a while, and it's just like, I was passionate, consistent, caring, positive. That's really me. That's it.
Passionate, consistent, caring, and positive. Those were Jim Clayton, summed up in 4 words. The exact words he wanted to be remembered for. So at his service, I spoke about those 4 words and Jim's life. We looked at Colossians chapter 3, verse 23, where it says, "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto men." And that was Jim Clayton. He did everything in his life wholeheartedly. Whether he's taking the time to draw up a play or he was explaining a lesson in the classroom, you could see the fire in his eyes. His passion inspired those around him to give their best because he was always going to give you his best. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2 reminds us that, "Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful." And Jim was faithful. Jim was consistent. He was a steward of his time, of his talents, and of the people that were entrusted to his care. His consistency built trust, and that trust built relationships that lasted long after the final classroom bell rang or after that final buzzer sounded. Romans chapter 12, verse 10 tells us, "Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another." And that was Jim's heart. Jim chose to love, to encourage, to support. For him, caring wasn't just words, it was action. And his caring was not passive, it was active. It was taking the time, it was offering encouragement, and it was giving of himself to others so freely. In Psalms 118, verse 24, it says, "This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." And Jim Clayton lived that. His joy was contagious, and his outlook always remained positive. He reminded us that each day was a gift worth celebrating and living fully. And I'm going to paraphrase this, but he would always say that you can't look back at yesterday because it was the past. And you can't look at tomorrow because tomorrow isn't technically a day. You have to live your life for today because it's a gift. That's why they call it the present. And at 12:01, the day's going to reset. So don't let yesterday be better than today. Jim Clayton was passionate, consistent, caring, and positive. And I had the chance to say, Jim, thank you for your life. Thank you for your guidance. And thank you for your friendship. You are beyond deeply missed. Your spirit, though, your lessons, your laughter, it's going to live right on in every one of us. We all need to follow the model that Jim established with BAM. We need to work to believe bigger, to achieve louder, and to motivate stronger. Just like he said on the intro to this show, and just like he did every single day of his life.
Bam, son!
So just a quick update about the show. We are technically still on a hiatus. I'm working out some details on what's going to happen with the show. So please continue to hang on, continue to follow us. Follow us on Facebook. You can look us up, Shooting It Straight Podcast on there. Make sure you're subscribed to the show in your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, a modern podcast app like Podcast Guru, True Fans, Fountain, whatever it is you use to listen to podcasts. Make sure you're subscribed. I think we've got things narrowed down. I'm working on a plan right now with someone who is potentially ready to take the seat, to take over the microphone that was Jim's, so we can keep this going. And we can continue to spread those ideas and continue to keep Jim's legacy alive, to keep things going so that we remember him every single day. So until next time, keep an eye out on things. Make sure you check out our website. You can do so by heading over to shootingitstraightpodcast.com. There on the website, you'll see any updates we're going to put out about what's going to happen. So keep an eye on it. Make sure you're paying attention. And remember to always stay positive. Always be consistent. Always share your passion. And always make sure that you're telling people how much you care about them. Just like Jim Clayton. Keep shooting it straight. And remember, always believe, achieve, and motivate.
Bam, son!